in this picture right here, I'm going to make it a little bit bigger. You'll notice in this spot right here, that was a curved area of the layout. Over here is a curved area of the layout. Back in here is curved layout. This through here and back over through here. Those are areas that I knew when I started building the layout that I was going to have to do something to make sure that when I built the layout that I made the accommodations, as you can see with the cursor, that identify where I'd have to attach the fascia on the curved areas all through here, that I had something to attach it to. Now I'm jumping to this picture right here. When I started putting my fascia on the layout, I started with the curved areas first. And the reason for that is it makes it a lot easier to do it with one complete length of board than to try to do it with starting here or there or whatever. A lot of people ask me what I used for fascia, and all it is hard board. We called it masonite board up north. Some people call it brown board. Some people call it other names, but they come in 4x8 sheets and they are basically nothing more than hard pressed paper. That's, you can get it in 1/16, you can get it 1/8 of an inch, 1/4 inch, or whatever. I use 1/8 inch because it's much more pliable and it doesn't weigh as much and it's much easier to use. And when you're bending it around corners and that, it's much easier. If you use the 1/16, it's very fragile. It will crack and break on you fairly easy. So that's the reason why I used the 1/8 inch. When I started here in this corner, this area right here, a full sheet, or excuse me, while the 4x8 sheets, I cut them down to 11 3/4 of an inch. That gave me 4 pieces out of 1 sheet. I only needed 2 full sheets to do my room, and thus I was able to get it all done with just the 2 sheets in those dimensions. You can make it higher or wider or narrower, just depending upon what you want. So as I was coming around, you can see this area right here, I did have to put a joint in because it just didn't long enough. And I chose this area right here for the simple reason, since there's going to be an open gully right here with a bridge above it, it was a good place for placing it of it. This is just showing all of the fascia in place. I will say this, with this fascia right here, you can treat it just, for the most part, just like drywall. And if you have this, I strongly suggest, if you're using it, to take some 100 grit sandpaper or something like that, and to sand down the surface just to take the shininess off of it, so that when you go to paint, the paint will adhere to it. If you don't, it will peel off fairly easy. This is the rest of the layout being completed with it. And there's the end of it. Now, like I said, you can treat this just like drywall. So I used drywall mud to patch. I used just like drywall. I used taped drywall mud to tape all of the joints, and then drywall mud for all of the screw holes. I'm going to back this up so that you can see in this one photo here. You notice this right here, I used countersunk screws so that when you see the finished surface, you don't see any of them because they're all countersunk. So that was the reason for going through and doing all of the patching to cover up all of those screw heads. Then after that was done, I primered the entire layout in white. And the reason for doing it in the white is I have the control panels, which I'm going to be covering next, right after this. But it being in white, it enabled me to draw out on the fascia and locate on the fascia where I was going to have all of my controlling devices. So this right here is this area right here is where I'm going to have a drawer that has to be cut out for my DCC system. So drawing it out enabled me to locate it and cut that area out real quickly. And there's the drawer that I made that goes in this little cubby hole. The rest of the layout, you can see the other areas that had to be cut out for the control panels that I will have going on layout. And up above, you can see each of the individual control panels that will be on the layout. This is with them installed, and I've installed them just temporarily, just to make sure that they were fitting correctly and all of that. And all of them were completely primered also. Took the control panel fixtures off, and I painted the bottom, well, the fascia, just a semi-gloss black. Everybody says you should paint it green. Some people say you should paint it white. Some people say you should paint it blue. Some people say you should camouflage it. I picked black. It was